Welcome to the final of Team Chess Battle 2. My name is International Master Casa Corley, and we're going to have a really, really exciting matchup here. We got two teams that had quite a journey to get here. We got Team Ratata on my left, and on my right, Team Oh Yes, My Queen. So featuring Nemo and Eric Rosen. Again, Ratata featuring Pepe Cuenca and David Divis Martinez. Welcome, folks. How you doing? I'll throw it to Team Ratata first. How you doing?
Everything fine, Casa. It's very nice to be here. We are facing today very strong opponents. I saw their journey through this tournament, and they are very strong in tactical play. So we're gonna have to be extremely careful. It is a pleasure to play with my best friend Divis. What can I say?
Oh man, already I hear some platitudes. Nemo, Eric, you guys won every game thus far to get to the finals. Do you feel it's going to be the case today?
Let's hope so. Yeah, I'm excited. I've been enjoying watching our opponents' previous matches. Even though I don't really understand what they're saying, they have so much energy. So, I mean, today should be a really fun match, regardless of the result.
Nemo, where are you at? Where are you at today on how you feeling going into this one?
Honestly, I'm just really happy we made it this far, and I feel like Eric and I have been playing some really good chess. So, just hoping to keep it that way.
All right, I hear you. So we're going to take a look at this bracket real quick, see how these two teams got there. As I mentioned earlier, Oh Yes, My Queen has not lost a game yet. They first beat the Scandinavian squad of Danny Rensch and John Bartholomew, and then they went 2-0 against Tanya Sachev and Sagar Shah, the All India clash there. And now they're going to be facing Team Ratata, who had a really impressive 2-0 win against the Chess Dojo squad, and then beat the Team Cramling, Pia Cramling, Anna Cramling, and now they're facing Oh Yes, My Queen. I felt like there was a bit of a D4 dynamic going on, David, and your squad. I don't know if I saw some Queen's Gambit vibes there. I know Pepe has a course there. Have you guys talked about the opening prep?
Yes, of course we talked about that, and of course we followed the game of Eric and Nemo, and we are ready to try to find the opening, and of course later try to get some good position. Really, they are playing very well. I think they not only won the 4 games, it was fair. Really, they played very well the games. Then I think it will be very hard to us to beat them. But okay, let's try it.
Nemo, do you guys have like a novelty shop? Because it's clear that they've prepared a little bit. They're, again, all these platitudes. Yeah, you guys are good. It's going to be hard, etc., etc. Do you feel similarly, or do you feel like you have something new to bring to the table today? Where are you?
Honestly, I would just say, we're always just trying to play our best chess. I'm sure we have something cooked up, but you're going to have to wait another 5 minutes to see it on the board. So yeah, I'm ready to play. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Pepe, has there been moments where you've disagreed with David on some of the direction, and how's that gone thus far? When you guys have a disagreement about the direction, is it like, all right, you get this one, I get the next one, or is it like I'm the GM, so I'm dictating the terms here? How does that work?
No, of course, we disagree in many occasions, but I think it's important to disagree because, the tendency is usually to trust your colleague, but I think you have to do the opposite. So this is not working because of this is not working because of that. We are very good friends, but of course, sometimes we need to argue. And no, I'm not saying because I'm the GM, we're going to play this. We're a team, and he sees, for instance, like in tactics, he's much better than me. So, I try to play the positional moves, and then he tries to finish the job.
And then I'm gonna throw the similar question to Eric really quickly. What is one thing you've learned from Nemo thus far through this process? Because obviously you're not always agreeing on those moves, right?
Yeah, that's true. I think it took a decent amount of training together to find the right level of chemistry. We've been doing a decent amount of training outside of these matches, found some strong players to team up against in unrated games on Chess.com. We had a match against Kamsky the other day, and also against Ilya Nizhnik, who we defeated in a nice game. So Nemo is really good at finding these like super aggressive, intuitive, like tactical moves, and that's, I think, one of my weak spots. So it's helped kind of just enhance both of our playing styles, and yeah, hopefully we can put that on display today.
All right. Well, that's good to know. I'm gonna stay tuned for some of these tactical moves, and I'm gonna definitely give credit to Nemo when they happen. I'm gonna let you both teams go to your corners, do some last minute prep and talk, and good luck in the first game. It's gonna be a show.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck, guys.
Buena suerte.
All right.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do it. We're on a private call.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Honestly, good. I feel like we've been in really good form. I'm sure a lot of the practice games have helped, and I think you're very sharp right now as well. So we're like, this is going to be good.
For sure. Yeah, I'm feeling calm, feeling awake, which I think is important to have some coffee. I have some iced green tea.
Nice. Yeah, I'm having coffee right now. I think the strategy has been pretty much the same against the other teams, which is just, fast and good, basically.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to have done a lot more opening prep, so just have to be alert of what their opening strategy is. But hopefully we can just get a comfortable position. We'll find out shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that we can be a little bit more aware of is like sometimes, in chess, it's really hard to always be making the best move. Sometimes the second best move, if it's like good enough, being able to push them into time trouble and all that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, but I think overall we're in a good spot.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've been enjoying like this format compared to this like previous competitions where it's individual. I think it takes the pressure off being able to work together.
I think so too, and I think we bring skill sets that are exactly like complementary. Like we don't have too many exactly overlapping skill sets, so it's been working really well.
For sure.
Yeah, but it's good. We'll keep doing our thing. Sure, they'll let us know.
Yeah, I didn't realize Pepe has a course that was mentioned. I didn't even catch what the course is on, like maybe some Queen's Gambit or something.
I think it was Queen's Gambit. I think they said it was Queen's Gambit. Well, it's okay. Our variation is...
Maybe I would have bought the course in preparation for this. But,
oh.
I'm aware that David has some kind of, I think, Chess 24 series, but I think it's more of an E4 repertoire.
Okay.
Which... I don't think we have to worry about.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they're going to play D4 as well. They've played D4 basically every game. I think really they're playing a lot of what Pepe wants, and a lot less of what... Not because I think David does not feel confident or anything. I think that's just kind of been the dynamic.
Just naturally Pepe being the more active tournament player.
Right. So...
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, I can see your screen.
Perfect. All right, let's do this.
Okay, D5. E6. Expecting knight F3. They might play knight C3, but that'll be okay.
Yeah.
Okay, knight F6. And not bishop B4, but knight BD7. First. There's a good chance they prepared this because this is what I play a lot in Blitz online. Bishop f4 is what Pepe has played most in the past, which is kind of based on the files I sent you. But there's a lot of moves here for white. There's bishop f4, there's bishop g5, there's cd5.
Yeah, if bishop g5 we go for semi-slot, right? So it's like the other thing
if bishop g5 we'll discuss.
Okay.
Because I do have an idea. It's good that they're slowing down. But I have a feeling that they probably looked at Cambridge Springs.
Okay.
So if we play c6, they're going to be prepared for e3, queen a5.
Okay.
Let's go for bishop to b4 here. This is a move I was actually looking at this morning.
All right.
I didn't have time to send you a file on this, but
no worry.
The lines are at least a bit more fresh in my mind.
I'm sure the ideas are kind of similar with like c5 pawn pushes and queen a5.
Yeah. There's a lot of thematic overlap between the lines I sent you with bishop on f4 versus bishop on g5.
Yeah, no worries. That would make sense.
But there's no way they checked this before the match because I've never played this move. Take back with pawn. And now e3 is most natural. And you play Rogozin, right?
Mm-hmm, I do.
Okay, so this actually goes into a lot of Rogozin type positions.
With c6.
With actually, if e3, we can play h6, g5.
Oh, okay.
And then knight e4 stuff, and then sometimes c5. But okay, of course, depending on what white plays.
I play the most boring lines possible in the Rogozin, so I've never played h6, g5. But
yeah. Rogozin is like flexible. You can be solid or aggressive. In this case, there's more opportunities to be aggressive just with the ability to kick around the dark square bishop.
For sure. Okay.
So very good that they're slowing down.
Yeah, I mean, once again, being able to pressure them time-wise is going to be so huge. But h6, g5, knight e4 are really interesting ideas.
Okay, the rook c1. Yeah, I have checked this briefly. I think we still go for h6.
Yep.
You can play quickly. We do have to watch out. Like if bishop takes f6, we can't recapture with knight because queen a4 check.
Got it.
So I think in that case we take with queen. But in this case, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just g5 and knight e4.
There's no knight takes g5 tricks.
No.
Okay. Knight.
Yeah, knight e4. And I will admit that I don't have like so much experience in playing these positions, but at least ideas are thematic, and hopefully we can work our way through. I do know that if they play e3 here, then the major idea is h5.
Okay.
And then it's already uncomfortable for white because we're threatening to trap the bishop, and if they move their h-pawn, their structure gets damaged with knight takes g3.
If a6, we just take on c3.
If a3, yeah, I'm pretty sure a3 takes, and then still probably h5.
h5 is the main idea here. Interesting. Okay, so h5, h4. We can always take on g3. We can. Okay.
Yeah. So queen b3. Okay, so I'm kind of on my own now.
All right.
Of course, they hit the d pawn and the bishop, so bishop takes c3 is probably the safe move.
Is there anything else?
I'm kind of wondering about, queen e7 seems like it's just loses a pawn.
Yeah, I don't really see much that we can do tactically.
So if we take on c3, they have to take back with pawn, and then we play c6, and we still have this h5 idea. I'm
happy with
bishop. I checked this, but yeah, bishop takes I think is fine.
All right.
And just pause before playing c6.
Maybe knight b6 to secure c4. Are we ever worried about c4?
I think it's a bit more flexible to start with pawn c6.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead and play it. And like h5 is still a looming idea. And if they can't really play c4 actually because queen a5 check.
Oh right.
They have no good way to block the check.
Very good point.
The downside of the queen being on b3.
What about them going queen a3 just with ideas soon? Well, we're not castling kingside anyways, but Just
Right. Yeah, we just leave our
play
king in the center
king in the
probably
center.
and go for h5.
Okay. And if bishop e5, we always
We
respond
do
with
have
f6.
f6 as a resource.
If knight to e5,
Knight e5, we probably have the option of h5 or takes first and then kick around the bishop.
okay. h5 it seems like the biggest issue for white.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure what to expect from them because
What
like,
about
even though they have time here, like e3,
like
h5,
bishop e d3,
bishop d3, then we play h4,
h4, bishop takes?
we take, and we hit the
Oh,
knight.
Ooh, that's a very interesting position. There's knight to
Yeah.
e5 though, which threatens queen takes f7.
Oh, good point. That's interesting. But then we take on e5, bishop takes e5, f6, and the bishop's trapped.
Bishop's trapped. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm cool with that line.
Yeah, I was wondering if there's cases where maybe they can like play bishop d6, but I don't think it ever works for them because our knight is covering d6.
Do we just want to take
Wow.
and ruin
So they
castle?
allow knight takes d2, king takes d2.
Yeah.
But I think they like played this move because they were scared of h5 and they want to play f3, which makes some sense. It just seems a little bit unusual. I mean, knight d2 is, I think, the obvious candidate move. But,
Yeah.
do we have an easy way to exploit the king? I mean, we have knight b6 to c4 potentially, but they're going to play e3. And if we play h5, they're ready to play f3.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe knight takes, king takes, knight b6, e3, bishop to f5, and then try to go queen e7 short long castle. But I don't know if that's maybe too slow.
Yeah, that seemed like a solid approach where like their king is just going to be in the center. Our pieces are decently placed.
Mm-hmm.
Castling queenside might be risky with a half open b file on the bishop on g3. But it does feel like we should at least start with knight takes d2. I'm just looking for other candidate moves. Briefly considering f5 here. The thing is they're just quick to play f3 in a lot of lines.
Yeah, I think we should just take.
Okay. It's fine with me.
And then knight to
And we
b6.
do have knight f6, but then, still f3.
Yeah, that's just very annoying.
So knight b6 I'm fine with.
Right.
And our bishop will probably choose between e6 or f5.
There's this other idea with maybe bishop e6 and then trying to play c5 at some point because we don't really need to get castled, so I'm also okay with that. But yeah, I think bishop e6 or bishop f5.
Bishop f5 feels a little bit more natural.
Okay.
Just because it deprives them of bishop d3.
All right, I'm playing
it. And then we can, go for it.
If c5, we always just ignore. c4, we always ignore, right?
We could ignore. We could consider taking. I mean, it might lead to this off the color bishop situation. Don't think it's too much of a concern. I mean, our next move, if they do something slow, is maybe just queen e7 to stay flexible.
Yep.
And then we have the option of, like, I'm not sure where our king should go, if we should go kingside or queenside.
Not really sure either. I would probably go. I'm honestly leaning a little bit more kingside now, but h4 is always. But okay, so maybe after a4, we can't even go.
Yeah, maybe they're discouraging us from going queenside. There is some idea, like usually in these structures, a knight likes to be on d6. So we could maybe start with queen e7, a5, and then knight c8.
Yeah, and there's no rook
They don't have rook b1 because our bishop's on f5.
Oh, wait, maybe after that line. So queen e7, a5, knight to c8, then first a6, and then we got to play maybe b5.
Oh, we do have b5. Yeah, b5 is a nice move to grip the position.
Okay. Queen e7 then.
Yeah, queen e7.
And if they go, they can't go rook b1. Our bishop's still here.
And I don't think it's ever like good for them to play bishop d3 because we take and play knight c4.
Yeah, agreed.
And we should still keep this resource in mind, h5. Because this would maybe provoke f3, and then e3 could be a target. Although maybe h4 becomes possible for them.
Yeah. I'm definitely worried about h5, h4 because we no longer have the knight on e4. But if we're able to reroute our knight to d6, that would be really nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to evaluate the trade. If we get our knight to d6 and they trade, bishop takes e6, I think the resulting position is nice for black. Like there might be some cases where we sack the b pawn, where let's imagine we play knight d6, bishop takes e6, queen takes e6, queen takes b7, then we
rook b8,
castle kingside, or rook b8 and then rook b2. Yeah.
Okay, I'm definitely
leaning
more castle and kingside
for sure.
Because also after castle kingside h4, we have g5.
We have g4.
Yeah, g4.
And it's really hard for white to actually attack on the king side, even though we've extended with h6, g5.
Which means it's also okay for us to play h5, because then if h4, we can play j4. But I don't think it's necessary.
It's probably not necessary.
The one worry I do have is castles h4, g4, h5, because then our h-pawn is fixed, and the g-pawn can become weak. If we imagine.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, with the white pawn on h5. So there could be an argument to be made that we have to play h5 first, just because I don't want to create that.
I gotcha.
Knight c8.
Knight c8, I think. Yeah. Yeah, a6 really doesn't do much damage, because then b5, and even the knight could return to b6 and then c4.
Yep. And then the a-pawn is going to drop at some point in the endgame.
Right. But they might go for c4 here, and then things get a bit more concrete.
And
they do. The first
knight d6.
Knight d6, yeah, which is maybe a pawn sacrifice, but the prospect of knight e4 does look nice.
King goes back to e1.
I think we have the option of taking the bishop. There's also just recapturing on d5, and
playing.
We have queen b4 in the air.
Yeah. So maybe if they take knight d4, they have to go king to d1.
So what's the calculation? Knight d6 takes on d5, knight e4, king d1. We take on d5, queen takes d5, but then still queen b4 maybe?
Queen b4. There's at least queen b5 with check.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Which swaps off our queen, so that's not very great.
Intuitively, it just looks like we should have options.
There's maybe d takes c4, castles, and c5.
That's an idea. We spend a moment on knight d6. Yeah. We're most scared about cd5. We start with knight e4, king d1. It just seems like their king is such a target there. Like maybe we can castle, and then center's opening up.
Yeah, if they take on c6, for example, we just take back.
If the c file opens, and like our rooks are connected, their king's on d1.
Feels like our h-pawn's hanging. I mean, it's so concrete.
Yeah. But then, I mean, if we get the c file for our rook, then our pieces are just on such good squares, knight and e4.
What if they played the most safe version of it possible with knight to d6, pawn takes knight check, king to d1, castles, pawn to d6.
And then we trade.
Yeah, and then we lose the b pawn. And then if we
rook go b8 in the end.
Queen takes
then
c6.
We lose our c pawn. Even that looks. I feel like we should have something there, like rook.
Maybe
like
just
queen a3. We're threatening rook c8. We're threatening a5.
Queen a3, e4.
I'm okay with playing knight d6.
Okay.
Now and just put the ball in their court.
Oh wait, knight d6, bishop takes, queen takes.
Queen b7, rook b8.
Queen b7, rook b8.
And we have rook b2 coming.
Rook. Okay, so knight d6, bishop takes, and then c takes d5. We
And then
still
just
take
CD. Oh, CD5. They do have bishop E5 check, but then King F8,
and
and
just
then
put
our
the
king will
king on
walk to
g7.
G7.
Okay.
Then they have Queen C5. Wait. Okay, definitely a critical moment. So
Yeah.
takes. Yeah, I think they are going to take on D6, take, and then try and simplify, even get some endgame.
Yeah.
So ideally, we want to avoid the trades. It might be worth just considering other options here.
Maybe just d takes c4 and castle short.
That's possible. Then castle short, and we have knight d6 ideas.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a decision.
I just don't think knight d6 works because of the safe lines.
Bishop takes e6, takes
Yeah.
and takes, and yeah, it's hard to get to their king.
Yep. I think keeping the center open is probably a little better because at least we have c5, rook d8, c5 ideas, or rook to knight to d6, rook 8 to d8 ideas.
Right. Okay.
So
Yeah, go for it.
okay.
And it's hard for them to stop knight d6.
Yep.
So they might end up trading on d6, and then we should have the safer king.
Castles.
Yeah.
And then knight d6.
Depending what they do. I mean, they definitely have options here. They might go for h4. They might go for rook hd1 and then king e1 and run their king to the king side.
Rook hd1, we play knight.
But then knight d6, and if they take on d6, we take back and their h2 pawn is hit.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of their h pawn being hit, we still have rook to b8 and rook to b2, which is, I think, still really, really strong.
We should also maybe keep in mind the resource of b5. I'm not sure if it actually does much, but like if they en passant, we take back and the a file opens.
Problem is the bishop retreat, and then we are left with the super weak c pawn.
True. So, yeah,
but if we're ever able to place like b5, c5, like in the Catalan, like just
c5 is definitely a major pawn break.
Yeah.
If it can work concretely.
c5, d5, I feel like is such an issue right now.
Okay, they go for h4, so I don't think we can afford the h file opening. I mean, g4, I know it's committal, but briefly looking at knight d6 too. Takes.
Yeah, I think that's very scary.
Yeah.
Because then they
you just want to start with g4?
G4, yep.
Yeah, it's not great having pawn fixed on a light square, but at least the files stay closed. And I mean, I think from a positional standpoint, we want to get rid of their dark square bishop.
I agree. And I don't think it matters. Like, it's not great, but also at the same time, if the dark square bishop ever goes, we have g3 ideas as well, so it could be worse.
Oh, yeah, that's possible. Yeah. Like, okay, very clear plan of knight d6, knight e4.
Yep. Never take on f3. We can't really afford to have g-file open unless we're able to hit e3, which we're not currently.
If they play pawn f3.
Yeah.
Yeah, pawn f3, I think we just probably do our own thing, knight d6.
Well, I was thinking pawn f3, maybe we go h5.
Also possible.
But I'm also okay with knight to d6, because then if e4, we maybe have bishop takes e4 ideas.
Yeah, f3 is like very committal for them, so I feel like it's possible they just won't go for it here.
I am a little worried about f3. Like, if we play h5 and they go e4, it's kind of
e4 is an idea.
It's kind of awkward.
So f3, I mean,
oh, okay.
They start with a6. So that makes some sense. If we play b5,
bishop to d3.
Our c pawn's quite weak. I wonder if it makes more sense to play b6 to prepare c5.
Okay,
if they
so
play-
b6, bishop d3 takes, queen takes, and
takes.
c5.
Yeah.
I'm cool.
Even knight d6, and then we're threatening knight e4. I think just b6 should be a quick move to play.
All right. And if d5 now, we cannot take, so maybe rook d8 after.
Wait, why?
Because bishop
Take,
takes.
and then rook d8. Rook might be getting trapped.
Yeah, like king 2
Okay.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess d5 we can play either knight d6 or c5.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we can also play rook d8 first.
That's possible too. Yeah, there's always nice to have options.
There's options for sure. Yep. Okay. There's this idea maybe we have with queen e4. Just hitting the g pawn. I mean, it's not a very important pawn, but it does stop f3.
Yeah, it's something to keep in mind.
We don't like bishop d3, though. We don't really want to swap off the light square bishop.
Bishop d3 could be annoying. Yeah, I think we want our queen on e7 just to support knight d6. It's the only way for a knight to come back into the game.
Absolutely.
And yeah, they can't really stop it. So, I mean, they might try and generate like counter threats somehow.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I wonder if they might try bishop to e3 here.
If bishop e3 here, do we want to play bishop e6?
That's one resource. Yeah, we can also maybe consider trading and then still knight d6.
And then if bishop takes...
Queen takes, knight d6. We sack the c-pawn. If they take first, we take back and defend the c-pawn.
And then queen f5. How do we answer?
Queen f5 looks a little bit annoying.
Yeah, I'm not sure how we answer to our g-pawn.
Yeah, because our queen's tied down. I wonder if we have queen g6 in that position, actually, after queen f5. Because then if takes, we hit f2.
Oh, and then we defend.
So it's like an interesting resource.
Okay, well, I was thinking maybe bishop d3, bishop to e6.
Bishop
we can
E6
maybe get...
to d5. Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, that's actually really interesting. And then we still go for this eventual knight d6 to e4 plan.
Yeah, I'm just a little worried about e4 because then takes, there's rook to e1.
Right. Yeah, it's a big battle over e4. We would have f5 as a resource if our bishop reroutes.
Okay, yeah.
So...
That's true.
Yeah, we're doing well on time. Up over 3 minutes.
Yep. Part of the plan.
Yep.
Okay, bishop d3 is definitely my biggest worry, so I'm going to keep thinking on that one.
Yeah, I'm looking at it too. King e2. Wow. Okay, so knight d6 comes to mind. I mean, there's no real path for a knight back into the game other than knight d6.
Yeah, let's do it.
Are we worried about queen a3? But then rook a d8.
I'm not. It brings our rook to the middle. We're even threatening, like...
Yeah, let's play knight d6.
Okay. Yeah, there is, you have queen a3, we have, like, rook a d8.
Yeah, I don't think the pin really does much for them.
Okay,
but they go for it. Okay. Just be careful. Do they want to take on d6? We take back with the rook. Should be fine.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, this can be a double-edged sword. Like, I'm wondering if we have some tactics. Like, if our queen was defended, we would have knight e4.
Yep.
And then knight takes g3 with a in-between move.
Should we play rook e8 now? Because then if they obviously want to go king f1, so then we have knight e4, queen takes e7, knight takes g3.
Well, yeah, knight g3 still comes with check.
Right. The other option is bishop e4, which is also very interesting. But then there is f3, but it does weaken their king. So I don't like it as much.
Yeah, bishop e4, they might play just king f1.
Oh, true. Okay.
I'm just looking for other ways to try and create threats, because king f1, and their king does kind of get safe. mean, rook
Okay.
e8 does seem like the most logical move here.
Yeah, I think we just need our queen defended. Maybe queen
Right.
f6? No, queen f6, I think there's... So my thought behind queen f6 is if bishop takes d6, rook takes d6, king f1, we have maybe g3, but the g3 there's still f3, but then we can take on h4.
I'm not a huge fan of queen f6 because bishop e5 and they just improve with tempo.
Oh, we can't take on h4. Right. Okay.
That's maybe it's interesting, but I'm still leaning more towards rook rook f8.
Okay.
I think it just seems like the most natural, flexible move.
Yeah, I mean, queen f6, bishop e5, even if knight takes c4, rook takes queen h4 doesn't really work because c6 hands. Okay, rook e8.
Right. Okay, go for it.
Yeah,
knight e4. I mean, knight e4 definitely seems like the kind of tactical / positional threat. And then we basically guarantee good pawn structure for us because we take on g3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe they can play bishop e5 here. But then maybe we can play c5.
I do
Also,
like
if they play bishop
c5.
e5, we might have like king h7, f6. Their bishop will have to move.
Yeah. Just feels... There's always ideas of like knight takes c4 and queen takes h4, but it doesn't really work yet.
Also want to keep in mind like knight takes c4 and then bishop c8 in some cases to target a6.
I like it.
Reminiscent of what we did yesterday to Sagar and Tanya, like the
Yeah.
backwards bishop move to skewer.
Right. If bishop e5, we have time to go king h7 because they can't play king f1 because if knight takes c4, queen takes e7, rook takes e7, rook takes c4, we have rook takes e5. So we have
Good point.
we have all the time in the world to do whatever
That's a
we
very
want.
good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really like king h7 after bishop e5.
Yeah, we almost certainly have the safer king here.
Yep.
Still doing well on time.
Yep, absolutely. King f1, knight e4. I really like the swing the bishop back to c8 idea too. If we ever get into an endgame, I feel like that's something that can be very much overlooked.
Yeah, a6 could be a more of a liability for white than a strength.
Yeah.
So, okay, bishop d3. So they want to target c6.
Thoughts on knight e4? Knight e4 loses. Or c pawn.
Knight e4. Yeah, I don't think it works. Takes. c6 is hanging. I mean, bishop takes d3.
Rook takes d3. Yeah, no.
Wait, you're looking at knight e4 first.
Yeah, wait, what are you looking at? Bishop d3 first?
I was looking at bishop d3. So we can start with knight e4 first.
Okay, knight e4.
They have to take on e7. We take on g3. I don't think it's great because we're just losing.
No, I don't think so either. Okay, let's look at bishop d3. Rook takes.
And then what to do? c6 hangs in a lot of lines.
It's not the worst because we always have knight b5, rook takes d4. We can't take with the knight because it gets pinned, but we can take with the rook, so it's not the worst. But it's not a particular... Oh, no, it's okay because we actually have takes. So bishop takes d3, rook takes d3, knight takes b5, queen takes e7, rook takes e7, rook takes c6.
Yeah, they can't take on c6.
Yeah, we have a fork.
But they might just play a preparatory move like king d2 after we take back.
But then we can play c5.
c5.
Oh, king d2 you said. Sorry.
Interesting.
King d2. Okay, what about... This is a tough move. I didn't see
I'm
this
wondering
one.
about, can we play... I was looking at bishop e4. I don't think it works,
Yeah.
so they just take, and then our queen's tied down to the knight.
Mhm.
Yeah, so c6 is kind of an issue. c5 is a pawn sacrifice. Take, and then we take on d3.
Rook takes.
Say rook d3, and then knight e4, and maybe we win back the pawn. That's interesting. Oh, but then their queen's defined by the rook.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. What about c5? D takes c5, knight to e4.
And then knight e4. And then that might be an improved version.
And if bishop takes, we
take.
can take with the queen, perhaps.
Going after g2, then king f1. Problem is they still win a pawn and kind of consolidate.
No, we have rook takes d1, queen to c4, and then we can take on c5 with the pawn.
Yeah, it's a trade. So this starts with c5.
c5 pawn takes, knight to e4, bishop takes e4, queen takes e4. And if king f1, we can take on e1 and then go for c4. And if c5, d takes, knight to e4, bishop takes, queen takes. If rook takes d1, rook takes d1.
I'm just not sure about the resulting ending.
I mean, we always take on g2, and then there's bishop d3 threats. Feels like we have to make a decision here. So
okay, so c5 take, and then you want to play knight e4.
Yeah.
And then bishop takes.
Queen takes.
And then queen takes. And then king f1.
Rook takes
we
d1.
Take on d1. Take
takes.
Back.
Queen c4.
Queen c4, king g1.
Pawn takes c5.
And pawn takes. Okay.
And then if rook c1 though.
Rook c1. Yeah, it just seems. I mean, we do have bishop d3 takes a6, but it seems like their king gets safe and our king is exposed.
Okay.
So
we have to make a move.
Bishop takes d3, rook takes, and then can we just defend c6 somehow?
Wait, what about bishop takes d3, rook takes d3, knight to f5, queen takes e7, rook takes e7? We just play this endgame.
And then we hit. Okay, go for that. Bishop d3. I like that. Yeah, because we looked at knight b5 earlier, but knight f5 is just a better square. Yeah, okay. Nice.
Okay.
Very good find. I think it was worth spending time there because the other line was scary. So take with
rook takes, yep.
And then knight d4 is a threat. I don't think they can take on c6.
Yeah.
And we're also, knight g3 is a positional threat too.
I like knight g3, rook e6, rook d5 ideas.
For sure.
I mean, we're not worse in the rook endgame, so
yeah,
I'm happy to play it.
So what are we expecting from them? Because it's not easy for them to defend against knight d4 and knight takes g3.
I think it's going to be king f1. And they're going
king
to
f1, and we take, and
then we play rook.
We have c5 actually.
Oh, we do have c5.
Rook on d3 is undefended.
Because if d5, we can go. No, but d5 is a bit of a problem though, because we can't go rook e5. There's just rook to d1.
Maybe rook e4, and we just kind of go for rook a4. What about bishop e5 here?
Bishop e5, rook e6.
Rook e6 looks nice. Yeah, defending c6 and then f6. Also h4 is hanging.
Yeah.
Okay. Bishop e5, they're threatening bishop f6. So I was looking at c5, but bless you.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so king f1, knight takes g3, f takes g3.
I don't think they're going to play king f1 because they just move their king away from the center and undefend their rook too.
Yeah, I mean,
so if anything, they might play king d2.
King d2, knight takes g3 still. Yeah, and then if f takes g3, we still go rook d to d6, rook d6.
Okay, and then rook dc3. Rook dc3, we might have rook de6. And we lose c6 but win e3.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't think we can really be worse than that anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But obviously, that's rook endgames are tough, so we'll just have to play our best.
Yeah, still doing well on time,
Yeah,
but definitely have to up the tempo.
yeah, for sure. It's a pity none of the lines worked,
Hmm.
but this is okay.
I think the position is still totally fine.
Yeah, I agree. Because we also have rook d5, rook a5 ideas.
Exactly.
If they
Yeah,
ever give us
a6 is a
time.
sitting duck.
If we ever get our rooks doubled on the d file, we'll play c5.
Hmm.
We can play king g7. Okay, take on g3.
Yeah, take on g3 and rook d6, right?
Yeah,
Rook
rook
d6,
d6.
slightly more active.
Oh, if rook... Oh, never mind.
Okay, so they might be going for rook f5 with activity. I'm wondering if it's worth... Oh, I was looking at rook d5, but they have rook f6.
And then rook e6.
And taken rook c3.
And then we play c5.
c5. That's possible.
I'm a little worried about king d3, and then if we take, they always have rook c7 going for a7.
I'm wondering if we can just be like patient here and just like maybe not h5 right away because rook f5, but maybe king g7 to start with.
Yeah, because if king g7, king rook f4, we always have
then h5.
h5. Okay, king g7.
Okay, I mean they might go for rook f4, h5, rook f5, king g6, rook g5.
King h6.
I think we have to play h5 though. Yeah.
Okay.
Like this should be fine.
Yeah, I think so.
Like they're invading with one rook, but the rook on d3 is.
I don't care if the rook gets to g5 because we have rook f6. So. Yeah,
Okay, e4. Do we have like rook ed7 and c5?
Okay. Oh,
We can double up on either
F6?
file too.
What about
F6 I think is a very patient, nice like improving move.
Let's
yeah,
do
go for
F6.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
King
now
G6.
we don't have to worry about rook f5 to g5 and king g6 is coming.
Yeah.
And position is super stable. It's hard for them to advance either center pawn.
I'm thinking of rook d7, c5, b5, going for a6 that way, but
That's a nice idea. Yeah, and then we get two passed pawns on the queen side. Is there any reason to start with rook, or any reason to start with king g6?
No reason not to.
Yeah, I think.
Unless we want to go rook e6 to tie them down to the e pawn, but maybe they have d5 takes. Yeah, maybe they have e5 if we move either rook.
Do you want to start with king g6?
Yep.
Just
I
preemptively defending h5. And then
this is not enough time to calculate this properly, so we're just
just have to kind of intuitively play. I mean, everything is safe. f6 is defended. It's very hard to see any counterplay.
Okay, I like rook d7 more because now that the king's on c3, we do have c5 because after d5 we have b5 because now they can't swing the rook over.
I wonder if they're going to play king c4 at some point, but maybe just start with rook d7.
Can we play c5 here?
Oh, interesting. And then
c5, d5, b5, rook a1.
They might have rook b1.
Rook b1. Okay, so let's just go rook d7.
Yeah, just tie them down.
Okay, fair. If king c4, how do we...
Don't have to worry about it now. So c5, d5, b5. Still a little bit concerned about rook b2.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's hard to make progress.
Do you want to just shuffle rook e7?
We could play rook e7. Sure.
Rook e7.
We could double up on the e-file and see how they react. I mean,
they're okay with a draw. I don't know if I want to draw.
Same.
Yeah, so
So c5 is like the main break. c5, d5, b5, rook b1.
is rook e6? Oh no, it takes with a check. Never mind. I can't play that.
Try a rook c7, perhaps.
All right.
So I'm thinking after we play c5 now. c5, d5. Now it doesn't really work.
Mm-hmm. So rook d7
Rook
again.
d7, yeah. Try and conserve time. Yeah, their king I think is just better on c4.
Yeah.
Rook e7.
There's no rook e5 or anything.
So c5, d5, rook e5. Can we push somehow?
No, I think king just sits on b5 and we can never swing the rook over. Unless we play f5 somehow. Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
but
I
you just
don't
play
want
rook
to.
de6 here. Just
Yeah.
keep shuffling. Rook de6. E6,
Rook d.
e6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, rook e6.
Yeah, it might just be a draw.
Is
Which
there
is
d5?
fine.
No.
Then we take on e4.
Okay.
I want
Rook.
to play rook d7.
Yeah. Maybe now rook d5 if they leave their rook there, because if no, I don't think it works.
Take.
No,
It
I can't.
could
We
be
can't.
interesting, actually.
Takes.
But yeah, they have the pass
They
pawn.
just
Probably
pass
not
pawn.
worth it. They're getting low on time. I wonder if we can like somehow trick them.
10-second increment so
Do you want
much.
to play like rook d8 and
Rook
just
d8. Okay.
yeah? Again, I don't think there's any risk. And rook e8. Rook e7. I'm looking at b5 stuff, but
I don't think there's like a functional way to break through here, unfortunately.
c5, d5. Yeah, rook d6 maybe. I think we'll just end up drawing by repetition.
Do they have
Which is
E5?
totally fine. Like we'll have white in the next game.
Yeah.
e5, I think does more harm than good for them.
Okay.
We take and double up.
Yeah. Sure.
Double up on the e file.
D5 we take, yeah.
Yep. Now do we have c5? c5?
D5 takes,
we
takes, and then we have rook D4.
But then our king walks
there's
into
king
c6.
B4, yeah.
It's a little bit risky. I say keep shuffling, like rook
Okay.
d7.
Rook D7, okay.
Rook ed6.
Rook E6.
Yeah, just make them defend. Oh, we did allow e5. I think it's fine, though. I think that's too committal for them.
What if it's not, and they have rook F6?
We have rook d2 also. Like, allow... Ooh, they go for... Okay, so... Take rook d2.
E6.
E6. Rook e7.
Rook F6.
King g7.
Rook F7.
Take.
Rook takes.
King g6. Oh, yeah.
On
I think you have to take. I don't think there's any other options.
Okay. Oh.
Rook
no.
Wait a minute. I think we have to try this line, rook d2.
Okay, rook D2.
Yeah. Oh, we have rook d4 check too, and we just
no
yeah. Yeah, Rook e7
But
would be a
E6?
blunder. E6 we have... Oh, E6 immediately. Do we have Rook C2? Maybe Rook C2 and then Rook DD2. Oh, but then they start checking.
What about B5?
B5 now. Go for B5, yeah. Then at the very least, King C5, Rook C2. If they play King B4, we might have Rook D4.
Okay, Rook D4.
Wait. Rook D4.
The other rook, right?
Yeah. Oh, but they take and play King C5.
Oh no.
It's not looking good.
No.
I think you have to, play that move. And we have to like push our queenside pawns.
C5?
C5 looks fine. But they're gonna play Rook F8. Wait, Rook F8, C4, E7, C3. Queen. Oh, we're so close. Rook F8, C4, E7.
Okay, so E7, C4.
Yeah, I gotta try C4, I think.
King D7, we can check.
Yeah.
And then try to move back.
I think they're gonna play Rook F8.
Rook F8, yeah.
Do we have B4? B4, take, B3.
Rook B8, because we don't get C3 because
Yeah.
it can take. Oh no.
Try B. Yeah, it's just losing. What to do? C3. Try C3.
Okay. Yeah, E8 just doesn't work.
Yeah. Take.
B4.
Push the pawn, yeah, B4. What to do? Any stalemate traps?
Any stalemate traps? King F5?
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. Well,
okay, we'll have to try and win as white, but...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
B3. Yeah, I mean, it's lost. We can...
Yeah, we can resign, we can cry.
We can resign and we can cry. No, I feel like that was entirely my fault with the rook.
I think we got a little bit too complacent, like just both of us, missing the fact that white has counterplay. And you were mentioning E5, and I think at that point it was already maybe too late or too tricky with the time situation.
E5 was still a draw, apparently.
Yeah.
Darn. Rook D5 was... Oh.
What a game. What a game. Team Ratata takes that one in a very, very close time scramble affair. And wow, the ups and downs in that one were crazy. So we're going to bring everyone in to discuss. Let's transition over there and get Team Ratata and Team Oh Yes My Queen in the mix. And I guess it's only fair to start with Team Ratata. That was an adventure. Obviously, you got animated toward the end, but take me, Pepe, through that journey for you guys.
Okay, so it was a tremendous adventure, as you said. I mean, I think I got a nice position. We got a nice position out of the opening, but somehow we made some mistakes, and I think they were completely fine. And I think it was even risky for us, that rook endgame. We couldn't basically move anything. But suddenly we saw this idea with e5, and their king is cut on the g file. So probably it's already tricky for them after e5. I don't know if they have a move there or not, but looks, at least in practice, very, very difficult for black.
Yeah, it did feel very, very difficult. Were you going to be okay with the draw and just sitting there? Or like, were you always trying to win that position?
Yeah,
No, we were okay with the draw. I mean, we thought we couldn't do anything basically here. So we just had this idea with e5 that Davis spotted like some moves in advance. So then we had the opportunity to play e5, and then we went for it. It was risky, of course, because our king is also in a tough situation there on c4. But I think e6, rook f6, rook f7 is coming. So I don't know. Maybe there's a move for black here, but we couldn't see it actually.
Yeah, no, it was pretty wild. Nemo, Rosen, Eric, you guys had an incredible fight. I felt, honestly, I know it's obvious why you're in the final, because the synergy was crazy. I just have to point out the synergy was crazy. Where did you see you guys having the best chances in the game?
I honestly think that there were some moves we could have maybe played a touch faster just to pressure them a little more, because when we got into the end game, one of the advantages we did have was the little bit of extra time. But I do think we both got like maybe a little complacent in the end game, thinking that was going to be a draw. We thought about c5 a bunch, and perhaps that was like one of those moves where our opponent only has 20 seconds and we have a minute. We should just play like on move 35. But yeah, I think it was just really they played really well. Like you guys kept pushing until the very end. So yeah,
I think you guys had an opportunity maybe with c5 when our king was on c3. Mm-hmm. So then if we play d5, you can push b5, and then suddenly a6 is also hanging. So maybe that was a good opportunity. I don't know.
Yeah, it was at least interesting.
Yeah, right on the money. C5, B5 was an opportunity at a few instances. In one moment, it was winning, but for the most part, it was just slightly better for black. And it was impressive because the arc of the game was like white had the two bishops in the opening. Then Nemo, I feel like your tactical awareness was crazy. Like the knight e4, knight g3 business, the c5 business, it was all working. And then all of a sudden, the advantage evaporated with the exchange. The knight takes g3, f takes g3, and it felt like you guys were pressing. So, I remember during the game, you guys were like, "Oh, the draw is cool here. We're gonna have white in the next game." Now the circumstances change, and you need to get a dub with white. What's the approach gonna be to get that dub, Eric?
Good question. Yeah, I think we just want to try and stay focused and not get too tilted, not rage quit or throw a tantrum, because we still have white, and given the fact that this game was a really interesting fight, hopefully we can have another interesting fight and create some winning chances.
If it's as entertaining as the first, I'm going to have a great time commentating it and enjoying it. So I'm going to let you guys get back into your corners. Good luck. And I'm hoping for a show. So appreciate the first one. I'm going to enjoy the second. Before
we got this.
Looking for some weekend college sports? Tune in to the Collegiate Chess League tomorrow. This season's action of 4v4 chess features powerhouses like St. Louis University and University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, competing for the premier title in online collegiate chess. GM Benjamin Bach and Jules Gambit are calling the action on Chess.com streams. Use !CCL in chat or visit go.chess.com/CCL24 for everything you need to know. Team Chess Battle 2 will be back right after the break. Stay with us.
Estás viendo ya, ¿no? D4.
D4.
¿Has visto D4, no? Vale.
But knight BD7. There's a good chance they prepared this, because this is what I play a lot in Blitz online.
Dale caña ahí, A5. Vámonos. Tírale, bicho. Dale para allá. Legal, ¿dónde estáis? ¡Que no os veo! ¿Dónde están estos gritos? ¡Apoyo para vuestros matados preferidos que somos nosotros!
Perdedores, pero sin par.
Okay, I like rook d7 more because now that the king's on c3, we do have c5 because after d5 we have b5 because now they can't swing the rook over.
¿Qué pasa? Chavales, apuro de tiempo. ¡Pasa! ¡Repasa!
Te voy a lamentar.
Vamos. Unas ratas peludas, tío. Grande, Divis. Brutal.
No, I feel like that was entirely my fault with the rook.
I think we got a little bit too complacent, like just both of us, missing the fact that white has counterplay, and you were mentioning e5, and I think at that point of
you're about to enter a goldmine of the most valuable chess tips. to apply the ideas that we learned by studying these games into all games. This is again the most important vital point in this position. I always believe that the ideas of the past could be extremely helpful if we know well the classical heritage.
So generally, I'm a big fan of Eric Rosen in general. I recommend him heartily for his content, which is both really fun and really educational. I think he has a great presentation style, and he's actually opened my eyes to quite a few gambits and variations that I was not aware of. Treat every blunder as a gambit is, I think, good at building the kind of mentality that I would approve of. Because if, let's say your opponent hangs a piece, and already I'm saying hangs a piece, that's not the right way to put it. A piece leaves a piece hanging, and you're trying to figure out, is there some hidden nefarious design behind this move, or is it just a straight up blunder? It's very important not to go too extreme into either side. You should not just assume that it isn't a blunder because your opponent is rated X and you're rated Y. And I've kind of was impacted by this as a lower rated player. When I faced someone higher rated, I would just kind of assume that they saw everything, and that if they made a move I thought was a mistake or a blunder, that there was absolutely no way that I could be seeing more than them. And that went out the window with experience, because I realized everyone's human, everyone makes blunders. Even GMs leave pieces hanging. It's not common in longer form OTB chess, but in Blitz and Bullet, you'll see it happen all the time. And when I do it on stream, people are often so surprised, like, oh my God, he hung a rook. Oh no, my rook. But it's actually quite common. I mean, there's nothing about me or any other GM that inherently keeps us away from blundering pieces. So I really like this piece of advice. I think it tells you to treat your opponent's moves with respect. So don't just automatically laugh at your opponent and assume that a hanging piece can be captured. You should double check that there is no hidden intention behind it. At the same time, you shouldn't give your opponent too much respect. And if you don't see a reason that a piece should not be captured, you should always trust yourself. At the end of the day, if you trust yourself and your opponent ends up fighting you in the you-know-where, listen, then that was a great experience, a great learning experience. And then you can ask yourself, okay, what did I miss, right? What can I pay attention to next time the situation occurs that'll make me a better chess player? That's the great thing about chess, is that no matter what happens, in the end, you do benefit. But this mentality of always double checking and not making automatic moves, even when you get really excited about a potential blunder, I'm all for that mentality, and a big fan of Eric Rosen in general. So definitely a good piece of advice to put into your general toolbox.
Welcome back to the final of Team Chess Battle 2. We just got finished with the first game. Team Ratata did take it, and we're going to start with thoughts from this team. David Martinez, Divis, what is going to be the approach knowing you have this one-game lead going to the last game?
We will try to play a little better than the first game. Really, I felt they outplayed us. And then try to play better and faster. Practically try to do better.
That's our strategy too.
Eric, you got anything to add to that? Because Nemo's saying that's going to be your approach. What's going to any fancy any fancy gambits, anything in the pocket just for this moment?
I guess we'll see very shortly. I don't want to spoil any surprises, but yeah, better and faster sounds like a good strategy all around.
All right. Well, I do recall someone once saying too weak, too slow. So doing the opposite does work out. So anyway, I'll send you both to your corners. Good luck, and looking forward to a show. So have fun with it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. So what are
All right.
Okay.
Faster and better. I like the strategy a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Oh, I need to be
Okay.
/online.
Sounds good. Okay.
right.
E4.
Yep. Let's do it.
I'm expecting C5, but maybe they will try and surprise us.
Oh,
Okay. I think we just go for our prep that we were preparing yesterday, knight f3. And then Italian, assuming, bishop c4. So this isn't the most fresh in mind, but at least we'll have a fight. Honestly, I did not check their e5 games. I know Pepe plays mostly Sicilian. You can play d3 here.
Okay.
And then knight f6 will... wait, knight f6... We can start immediately with a4.
Sorry. A4.
You can play a4, yes.
Okay.
Now, the one thing is I played this in Madrid at the event that they were both organizing. I played this against Faustino Oro.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if either of them have seen that game. In this case, you can castle. And the general idea is to wait for them to play a6 or a5, and then we play this bishop e3 move.
All right.
And then usually trade the bishops and get some extra center pawn, half open f file.
Sounds good. Oh, a5.
A5. Okay, I'm actually happy to see that because this is more in line with what I've prepped in the past. I'm pretty sure you can play bishop e3 right away.
Let's go bishop e3. You can play some c3 stuff as well.
Now, there is a cute trap here that if they play d6, which actually looks okay for black, we can take on c5, they take back on c5, and then bishop b5. And then they have issues with preventing bishop takes knight, where their pawns get tripled, and also we potentially win the e-pawn. So, okay, take back. They play d6. Okay, so this is my game against Faustino Oro, actually. You can start with knight to d2, knight bd2. And I think the common plan here for black is to play knight e7 to g6. If they go for knight e7, you play knight h4. And then it somewhat discourages this knight maneuver from black. Oh, Nemo, you froze. Can you hear me? Nemo, you froze. Hopefully you're aware of the situation. I can still see your screen. I just can't hear you. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Hello? Okay. Awesome. Okay, Nemo. I still can't hear you, but if you can hear me, I'm pretty sure the move is queen e1. And if you want to play it quickly, yeah, and then try and work on your connection. Okay, sounds good. Okay. Yeah, I can hear you in. Can you hear me from live to air? Okay. Okay, let's take a pause here. Hey Nemo, can you hear me? Okay. I am thinking here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can go for knight h4 here. Yeah, and we'll organize our kingside attack. But feel free to focus on just getting the live to air back. I'll stay focused on my end. Yeah, so this is a very typical Italian position. You can hear me, Nemo, right? Still? Maybe? Hello, Nemo?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay, awesome.
Sweet, okay.
Cool, thanks.
So I think, yeah, we're in very fine shape out of the opening. This is kind of what we want out of this opening, just some kingside potential, half open f-file, queen g3 ideas.
Yeah.
Knight f5 ideas too. They might go for d5, so this is probably the main thing to calculate. I mean, we could maybe take on d5 and still go for queen g3.
So d5, queen g3 here.
D5 we take first with pawn.
Okay, take first with pawn. Yeah, big surprise.
Yeah, but queen g3 would threaten like
with rook f6. Yep. Okay.
I mean, they probably take back with one of the knights, and life goes on. But generally, like all of our minor pieces, our rook on f1, our queen, all have potential to pressure the king side and create some attack.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good that they're spending time here, like maybe not super comfortable with the opening.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm trying to figure out. Okay.
Okay, they go for c6. So I think this actually transposes into my prep. I'm trying to remember the nuances. But I think still queen g3. And we're threatening rook takes f6. If they play knight h5, we play queen g5.
Oh, I like it.
Okay, you can go for it. Yeah, there's a game, I believe it was from the World Cup between Prague and Magnus, and I forget who was white, but it led to some fun position for white. Yeah, king h8 is definitely a move.
Maybe just knight f5. Knight f5 looks really solid.
Yeah, knight f5. We threaten mate, so what do they do against knight f5?
Knight
they
takes.
I guess they could take with knight. We take back with pawn, and then takes. I think that should be slightly better for white. They might play knight g6, but then our knight just kind of chills.
Yep.
I'm good with knight f5, sure.
All right. Because now knight g6, we have like maybe knight to f3 as well. There's still always
Yeah.
queen h3 ideas too.
The thing with knight f3 is they take on c4 and e4 is a bit loose.
Oh, true.
So we have to be a little bit careful. But like if they play knight g6, I don't think there's any immediate threat. Like if they ever play d5, we can very often just move back to b3 and leave the pawn tension.
Got it.
So I'm not sure what to expect from them. I mean, they have to, of course, defend mate. Like if they take on f5, either way, I think it is nice getting the pawn to f5 and having the space advantage. And then, okay, of course, undoubling our pawns and being able to play e4 eventually. But that might be like the safest option for them. I think they either take on f5 here or play knight g6.
Okay. So if knight takes g6, if knight g6, I also am looking at like queen h3, rook f3.
That's interesting.
Maybe.
There's also the resource of just doubling up on that file, like rook f2, rook a f1, and then trying to create ideas of knight takes g7.
Oh.
They take. Okay, so take back with pawn.
Yeah. And then knight takes c4.
Yes.
And then if they can't play d5.
Yeah, d5, they're a little bit tied down with the pawns. If e4, probably d4. Also d6 would be hanging.
You can see my board and everything, right?
Yes, yeah, you're all good. Yeah.
Okay.
They play b5, wow. Yeah,
I'm happy to retreat the knight because if they ever take on a4, we just take with the rook and everything looks great there. So knight d2.
Yeah, knight d2. Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
So this could be, I mean, it might be a little bit harder to attack now on the king side because so many trades have happened, but maybe we can still like gradually increase pressure, like queen h4, g4 is a resource. Rook f3 is potential, like with rook lifts, rook f3 to h3 eventually. And I think it's hard for them to like pressure us much. Like it's a very solid position, so we could just be very patient and try and grind them down and get them to burn more time to. Like, there might be like lingering pawn tension with the A and B pawn because I don't think they want to take on a4 and I don't think they want to play b4, allowing the knight to come back to c4.
Right. Okay.
Okay, rook e8, so kind of flexible move.
We can't really play knight f3 because of e4.
Yeah, I definitely have to keep an eye on that. It's not really a threat immediately because e4, d4 I think is fine for us. I mean, we could kind of slow play with like rook f2. Queen h4 also I'm trying to understand, but thing is, I'm not sure about
knight d5 maybe?
Yeah, some knight moves and our e-pawn's a bit loose. Maybe you could start with king h1. Just like getting our king to a slightly safer spot.
Sure.
Because then like queen b6 comes with less annoyances.
I agree. I think queen h3, g4 is still sort of interesting if we ever get to push e4 in.
Yeah, I mean the prospect of g4, g5 I think is one of the main plans for white in the position.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if we can play queen h4 and they can't like immediately punish it. I think it's a nice move. Like here, for example, queen h4,
If queen h4 and knight d7 though,
knight d7,
we can just go queen h5,
and
I
then like
guess.
queen h5, yeah, or even queen h3. We avoid the queen trade.
Okay. So queen h4, maybe they're trying to play e4, but we don't care.
Mhm.
We can just push d4.
Yeah, the center closes down.
If c5 though, c3.
I'm kind of wondering. Yeah, we probably don't want to play e4 right away ourselves because the d file could then open. So queen h4. What are we scared of? So knight d7, we play queen h5, we hit f7. I think, yeah, just queen. Do you want to play queen h4 quickly?
Yeah, queen h4 e4 is just what I'm looking at. And
Okay,
if I go
d4.
d4, c5 maybe, because if we ever take on b5, they take on d4, and they have this pawn on e4 that's really strong. They can probably take back on b5 at some point.
After c5, can we just take on c5? And then knight b3.
Wait, okay, so e4, d4, c5, d takes c5, d4.
And then.
But yeah.
And then we take on d4, queen takes d4, knight b3.
Knight b3.
There's
and then
queen
takes
b2. But then we take on b5.
And then
feels
a4.
like there's chances there. And rook b1.
Queen takes c2.
Yeah, it gets weird.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be some options there for white. At least maintain the queenside pawns.
There's this idea maybe with e4 where we go a takes b5 first, and then if c takes b5, we go d4. But then if e4, a takes b5, e takes d3, c takes d3, rook takes e3, b takes c6, but I'm not sure.
I'm also trying to understand like the positional transformation, that if they play e4, d4, like can we shift our focus to the king side and like try and prioritize this g4, g5 plan?
Yeah. I like the sound of that.
Like maybe c5, we just play c3, we just make sure the center is defended and then go for the quick g4, g5. We're doing really well on time, by the way.
We are, yeah, absolutely.
So there might be moments where we make use of our extra time and like slow down, like when things get critical.
For sure.
I'm really not sure what to expect from them. Like they may play some slower improving move like rook b8. If they play rook b8, it might be worth including pawn to b3 just to solidify. It also might be interesting just to like quickly play g4 and like sack a pawn on the queen side and go for the attack.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like if we can play g4, g5, then it just opens up so many more ideas of f6 or g6. But they do go for e4. I'd say start with d4 and see what they do.
Agreed. Because there's also knight b3, which isn't the worst after c5. So if they're really determined about breaking through, we have responses.
Yeah, that's interesting actually. Like c5, knight b3. It might lead to trades after like c4. Okay, but they're offering the queen trade. So the nice thing about queen h5 here is we threaten f7.
Yes. So do you think they might go g6? G6 is too weakening, right? We just go queen h3.
Even queen h6 I think is fine for us.
Sure. Okay, queen h5.
Yep.
And if knight to f6 now, maybe we can go queen h3 just for the sake of no repetition.
Oh, I just realized knight f6. If we take on f7, our queen gets trapped with knight e7. So
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it has
probably
to be
queen
pretty
h3,
soon.
and then I mean, still g4, g5 is on the
Yeah.
horizon. And if we can lift a rook to the h file, that would be the dream.
Yeah, getting rook f4 in would be crazy.
I guess maybe they have knight f8, they cover h7, but then black is a bit passive on the king side.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they might want to try like some eventual h6 queen g5, but they always have to worry about the f7 pawn.
Yep. Okay, we're doing really well on time. I'm now looking at c5. Maybe c5 is a bit more of an issue, but we can always play c3 now. So
Yeah, c3 might be a safe move. I mean, if they play c5, we probably take a slightly longer think and sift through our options. Consider just taking the pawn.
at this very current second, we can take on f7. But let's say they go knight
That's
f6.
true.
Yeah, knight f6.
Yeah, knight f6, queen h3.
Right.
Actually, the nice thing about having our queen on h3... Okay, never mind.
Rook f4?
Rook f4 is
Oh, they're
definitely an
going
idea.
knight f8. Oh, but I don't care.
Yeah, it's probably okay. It might be a little bit more flexible to start with g4, though I'm not sure.
I kind of like rook f4. If they go knight to f8, then we can play knight b3, and we can turn our
Ooh,
attention to
that's a
playing
good
knight
point.
to e6.
That is a good point. Yeah, start with rook f4. I like it.
Okay.
And their knight on f8 is just purely a passive piece because it's completely restricted by the pawn.
Mm-hmm.
The only purpose it serves is defending h7.
So rook h4. They might play h6.
I mean, the thing here is, okay, they might want to. They might be trying to provoke pawn b3, so we don't have knight b3, knight c5.
But we should be playing knight b3 here anyways, right?
Yeah. So okay, so you're thinking of starting with rook h4.
Yeah. Just to pose the question, they'll probably
Right.
play h6, but I'm okay with that because that's just another weakness. And then I want to go knight b3 and then maybe swing the rook back to attack.
Yeah, start with rook h4. I like it. Yeah. And if they play knight f8, then you're saying knight b3.
Correct. I'm saying knight b3 here.
But here, do we play knight b3 anyway? Because we also have the idea of knight f1 to g3 to e2. It's slow to f4 to g6.
And it doesn't do anything on g6.
Yeah, it looks... I mean, there's also knight e6 ideas. Like, it's a dream square, but
yeah,
it is a little bit slow.
I don't think knight b3 is that committal, so...
Yeah, and I guess like with knight b3, we still have the long-term maneuver of knight c1 to e2.
Yeah.
So I think you're good to start with that.
Okay. We're also threatening a takes b5. No, rook takes b5, I guess, is a problem.
Yeah, I mean, their a5 pawn could be a small concern for them.
Mm-hmm.
And we might want to shift our queen and rook on the king side, like maybe queen g6 or rook g4. And it's hard to achieve this g4, g5 break.
Yep. Absolutely.
We might also have the plan of just putting a rook on g6. But it's the type of position that takes patience.
So I'm thinking of maybe queen g4, queen f4, queen
yeah,
g6.
I think our queen is the one piece that can be improved here.
Right. Do you want to start with queen g6 maybe?
I think queen g4 has a few more, like queen g4 to f4 looks a little bit more attractive.
I'm playing queen g4 then.
Okay.
Yeah,
they might play queen c7 just to like hold their ground. But if their knight ever moves away from d7, we have knight e5 or knight c5 eventually to e6.
Right.
So their knight does seem a bit stuck.
Okay, rook takes a4.
Yeah, what's our plan? Rook b4 maybe? But we're threatening rook takes
Or
a5.
we take on a5, right? Oh, rook to b3.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's slightly annoying. And they want to... Okay, we definitely have options here. I think now we should slow down. A few things come to mind. One is rook takes b4 and then queen f4.
Yep.
And we have ideas of queen d6. And
I think that's what I like.
Like they might try and play queen a8, use the a file, but we're covering a1. So we have time for queen d6 and then eventually h3. And
Queen a2, we have to play h3.
Right. But our king should be safe.
Yep.
Just trying to understand if there's any other options apart from rook takes b4 that are worth considering.
I think rook a2, a4 is too passive. We need our knight on b3.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm taking on b.
Go for the trade and then queen f4.
Oh, there's no. Okay. Queen f4.
Yeah.
Okay. If they ever go knight f8, we just
Sorry, go ahead.
If they ever knight f8, we just go knight c5.
Knight c5, right? Our time situation is so good. We just we want to keep the tempo, but we want to slow down when it's necessary.
Absolutely.
Queen b8 we kind of forgot about, but okay, there's options here.
Mm-hmm.
We probably don't want to trade queens just because of the match situation.
So queen f1.
Yeah, queen f1. Yeah, that gives us a resource of queen a1.
Yeah, they'll probably at some point play knight b6, knight to c4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then that allows knight c5.
Oh, that's true.
I think queen f1 is probably the most practical approach here.
Okay. Queen f1.
And our rook might want to come back to f4 and just be a bit more useful.
Yeah.
We might be threatening queen a6 here.
Queen a6, I just think knight b6. And then they're threatening rook a7.
Rook a7, that's true.
So maybe we play rook f4 and then like h4 or g4 or something.
That's very true. Yeah, we might shift back to the plan of pawn storming. Rook f4, g4, h4. Our king is still safe.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all about giving them things to worry about and burning more time. And this is interesting. Like we could consider taking and going into this ending, but I guess after we trade queens, they have knight b6 to c4, but we have knight c5, b3.
Take 6. What about
rook f4?
Yeah, but rook f4 I don't think is worth it because we would rather play this endgame with them to having double pawns.
I'm not sure because the double pawns give them the c file.
That's true.
And they're not easy to attack.
So rook f4, queen takes, rook takes.
Like we get the a file, which is the only open file in the position. Like if they go for knight b6, we probably start with rook a1. Oh, but knight c4 is a fork.
Thoughts on queen a1, queen e2, I guess.
Yeah, this was my first impression. I wanted to use a file, but so it's like what version of the endgame gives us the most chances? We might have to take a deep think here.
Yep.
Rook f4, queen takes f1, rook takes f1, knight b6. Like we really want to just have time for knight c5 and b3.
We just don't.
But I don't think we have time for that. Unless we do. Okay, I have a deep line, but just bear with me. So rook f4, queen f1, rook f1, knight b6.
Yep.
We play, let's say, rook a1, knight c4, rook a8 check, king h7, knight c5. But then they have knight e3. F5 is hanging. I wanted to play knight c5,
Yeah.
knight e6, knight f8, and create mating
see it.
ideas.
Is queen f4 back crazy? Queen f4, queen e2, h3.
C2 is hanging.
Oh, c2's hanging. I was gonna give up c2 for queen d6. And then rook. But they just have rook too.
Yeah, it just feels a little bit desperate. Rook f4, queen f1, rook f1, knight b6, rook a1. I really want to make this work, but this e3 pawn. So if we take, so what if we take first?
C takes, and then.
Okay, I have an idea. Rook f4, queen takes f1, rook takes f1, knight b6, knight a5.
And then rook to a7.
We take on c6.
And then if rook a2.
We take on b4.
Oh, b4. And rook takes b2.
Yeah, it liquidates. Maybe c3 there. Like we're temporarily up a pawn. They have rook e2.
Oof, that's tough. Rook
But maybe, maybe there's still some chances with knight c5, knight e6. By the way, what if like queen e1? I guess they want to play knight b6. But then knight c5?
Knight c4.
Knight c4, b3? Oh, they take on e3.
Yeah, we have to deal with checkmate somehow.
Like queen e1, knight b6, knight c5, knight c4. Then maybe like... Wait. Queen e1. Knight b6, knight c5, knight c4, b3. They can't take on e3 because we take back with our queen.
We have coverage e1. Okay, queen e1.
Let's just make sure. Queen e1, knight b6, knight c5. Are we scared of rook a7?
Oh, wait. Queen e1, they might have c5.
And then we take with pawn?
Yeah, but then they get knight takes c5.
And then knight d4.
Knight d4? Okay, that's playable.
Yeah, I think this maybe gives us the best chances.
Okay.
And then queen, let's go for queen e1.
Yeah.
If we have the time, we want to play h3 and then put our rook on g4, maybe queen g3. And our queen does a nice job here, like preventing black's queen from invading.
Okay, h3.
Yeah, I think that's just a simple move, yeah. If they play rook a8, like our knight is always covering a1, so
we just go rook g4, queen g3.
I think so. And then try to tie them down to g7.
Yep.
And then once their rook is immobilized, we can work on invading like queen d6. Still doing well on time. Like we spent a long time there, but I think it was worth it to make the right judgment.
That's why we have time saved up.
Yes.
Okay, so rook g4, king h2, queen g3.
Yeah, I think it's still easier to play for white.
Okay.
What do they want to do? Like, I don't think we're scared of rook a2. Like we just
I'm not.
go full ham on the king side.
Rook g4.
Sure.
Maybe they're looking for rook a2.
I think we're just faster.
B3, queen f1, king h2.
That's a move. So they prevent king h2. They discourage queen g3. Yeah, that's annoying.
Tricky. Rook f4.
Yeah, rook f4 might be worth playing now. And then going back to our pawn storm idea. There's also an option, maybe queen h4 to h5 looks too slow.
Yeah, looks too slow. Okay, rook f4.
Okay. I don't think their rook can do too much damage.
Mm-hmm.
Like rook a2, worst case scenario, we have queen b1.
Yeah.
And then if they put their queen on the a file, like they can't really make progress, I don't think.
Well, maybe then they can play knight b6 because we can't move king h2. Like, it doesn't make sense to move our knight away. Because then they have rook a1.
That's true. Yeah, this is a little bit uncomfortable.
So maybe queen b1, queen a7, rook f1.
And then just guard the first rank.
Yeah, but if knight b6, knight c5, there's knight c4 now.
Right. I'm wondering if we can sack b-pawn.
Well, we can always play rook f2, because if rook f2, rook b2, queen a1 traps the rook, but there is queen g3.
Right, yeah, I was noticing that too.
But queen g3, king g1 could be interesting. And then we're threatening to take on b4.
Oh, rook f2 here. Rook
Yeah,
f2,
rook f2.
I see what you mean. But then e3 is vulnerable.
Oh, that's
I don't like the queen getting into g3. I think probably start with queen b1, at least force her queen over.
Okay.
And then we'll decide.
I just don't see an answer to queen a7, knight b6.
Yeah, it's a little bit passive. We do have queen e1 here hitting b4. Our queen just came from f1, right? So we're not repeating.
F2 hangs at the end of that line. What about rook to f1, rook to f2, knight to b6, queen to e1?
And then we hit
If
b4.
Knight e4 we take, and then I guess knight takes e3 is very annoying.
We also have like g4 here. Okay, g4 knight b6 though, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're just a little bit too slow. Yeah, probably have to move our rook back. Rook f1 just feels like it makes a bit more sense because it allows knight c5. So can we calculate rook f1, knight b6, knight c5?
Knight to c4.
Knight c4. And then queen e1?
Queen e1, knight takes b2.
We
take
on
b4. Okay, rook f1.
Yeah, go for that. And if they defend their b pawn, we're in time for b3, I think.
Yeah, I think we just want to complicate now because we need to.
Yes. And if they wait, then maybe we have time for like g4, h4.
Yeah.
We also have we don't have knight c1 because rook a1.
Okay.
So we were looking at knight c5, knight c4, queen e1.
Mm-hmm. Shall we do it?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, at least our knight comes to e6 in many cases, and it can get very messy, which at this point is what.
Oh, there's rook takes b2.
And then we play queen g3.
Take on c2.
Knight e6.
Doesn't threaten anything.
We're threatening rook a1, actually, I think.
If we move our king.
Oh, yeah, we would have to play. That's true. Wait, queen e1, rook b2.
I mean, I think we have to go for it because there's nothing else to go for.
Can we spend one more moment calculating b3? Oh, do we have we don't have b3 knight a4 because they take on c2.
Yeah.
Do we? b3
knight e3.
e3, rook e1,
knight c2.
And then rook. Yeah, it's probably not.
There's
good.
rook a1. Yeah.
So queen e1 our best shot?
I think queen e1, rook b2. We have to go for queen g3 and then knight e6.
Maybe queen e1, rook b2. We start with knight e6. I think is a bit more accurate. But start with queen e1.
Okay.
Because with knight e6, we keep e3 defended, and if they take on
Yeah.
c2, we take on b4. Knight e6. They might play queen b8 here, multi-purpose move. But then maybe g7 is more of a target. At least our knight's coming in. Like this is our source of counterplay. Knight f8, knight g6 is in the air. We just have to get our queen and rook involved.
If queen b8, maybe we have to go for rook f4 because they're going to take on c2 and then push b3. So
Yeah,
just
they're
have
very
to
quick. Right.
something on the king side.
Wait, so you said queen b8, rook f4?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that enables queen g3.
Right.
And it's all about initiative.
Yeah.
Like we have to throw punches before they promote their pawn.
For sure. For sure. Okay, so they can't play rook takes c2.
Yeah, rook c2, queen. Okay, so we have queen b4 here, which is interesting. They take queen f8.
King h7. Queen e8. I kind of like it.
It's so close to mate, but takes. Oh yeah, queen e8 threatens knight f8.
Yeah.
Should we just go for it? They might play queen 8, but how do they guard f8? Because queen 8.
So queen b8 or queen a8. Oh, we can go queen e7.
Yeah, go
Okay,
for queen
go
b4.
for it.
I think yeah, queen 8's a very nice find. So our queen is finally intruding. They can't play queen f7 because queen b8, king e7, knight f8. They don't look confident here, which is good.
They have c5. c5, queen b5, maybe?
Yeah, we have to keep threats in the back rank.
Wait, c5, queen b5, knight to d6.
Knight d6. And then queen c6 maybe? We hit the knight.
6, b takes c2.
We take the knight, and we're still threatening
b1.
Things.
Okay, well, whatever.
Okay, queen f8. Yeah, I think they maybe missed knight e8. Or queen e8.
Queen e8?
Yeah.
Queen e8, knight d6 is fine. Everything's fine.
Well,
rook b8.
Yeah, it's still tricky.
Okay, so queen e8, rook b8.
Knight f8. Yeah, unfortunately, we can't do much when our queen's attacked.
Yeah. There's no way to prevent that.
We don't have rook a1.
I mean, we should just play queen e8.
Yeah,
I don't
queen
see a
e8.
better
Start with. Yeah, at least we have a couple checks. Knight f8. I don't think works.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work.
Okay.
We might have to play queen g6. I know
rook
it's not
C1.
pretty.
Queen g6.
Yeah,
rook
we
C1.
might have to play rook g6.
Well, queen
g6
first. Queen g6, king g6, and then queen f7.
And then queen g3. At least we hit the rook.
Okay.
We might start with. No, we can't start with queen g3. Can we start with king h2?
Okay. King h2. Knight takes e3.
Queen f7 though.
Yeah.
It's not looking great.
Not big.
Yeah, like the idea was to play rook a1, but.
Okay, queen g3.
Yeah.
Rook b1.
Do we have rook c1? They take. We play queen b8.
Yeah, but they can sack a queen with rook h1.
Yeah, rook h1's coming.
I
think you have to try rook. Yeah, try rook c1. I think our best hope is like knight f4 to g6. It's not pretty though.
No. Yeah, the fact that they can just sack their rook is pretty annoying.
they defended really well. I mean, knight f8, maybe you have to try. Do we have like king g3? Unfortunately, we can't really.
No, we can't. We just can't perp. So, all right, this is pretty over.
Do you want to take?
Yeah, we can take. We can give them satisfaction of promoting a queen.
Maybe create a stalemate trick of some sort.
Yeah. Farmer Rosen.
Get the pawn to g6.
Let's do it. G4.
Maybe start with. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll just play queen f7.
Yeah. They're probably saying like ra-ta-ta-ta-ta.
Yeah, they probably are.
Rolling their R's.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Are they going to force a draw? Okay.
Well, at least they, soften at the score a little.
Yeah, it was a good game. I mean, I think we had good chances maybe at some point, but they neutralized well.
Yeah, they did.
They really did.
Oh, jeez.
Wow, what a game. What a game. Another one that went right down to the wire. David and Pepe, Team Ratata, did manage to hold off Oh Yes, My Queen, and managed to secure the draw very professionally, I might add, at the very end to win 1.5 to half. And what a fight. What a fight. I cannot wait to hear their thoughts, and we're going to hear each team's thoughts momentarily. So let's dive in there now. Let's start with Pepe and David and Team Ratata. There was definitely some Ratata in that game. It felt like you were trying to stave off an attack for most of it. Did it feel as dangerous as it looked, Pepe?
It felt extremely dangerous. I mean, they put tremendous pressure in our position. We were extremely scared. On the king side, we didn't know how to put our pieces. Do we have to go f6? Do we have to play knight f6? Do we go e4? But suddenly, they have these heavy pieces on the h file. Probably the only way to go is to look for some sort of g5 push at some point. But it was never that easy. So, I think we found this queen b8 important when they went queen g3. So in order to stop this penetration with the queen, and we also occupied a file. Somehow, we stayed in the game.
Yeah, it felt like there was a little bit of a tug of war there, Nemo, where you guys were trying to execute that attack on the king side, and it felt like a lot of times they were denying you the g3 square, and you're trying to figure out what was the right time to go for it, what was the right time to stay put. What do you think your best moment was to kind of start that attack?
I honestly wasn't even really able to figure it out. I mean, I think Pepe and David, they both just defended so well, and I'm not sure if we really had a perfect opportunity. Honestly, I don't know if Eric felt like we had a better moment, but I certainly felt like we had so many things to defend while we were trying to attack.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. It seemed like a right position, exactly the type of position we wanted for the match situation, especially with the time advantage. And there was a moment where we were thinking about going into the endgame after queen b5 and the trade of queens and plant our knight on c5. But I think black was just quicker to get counterplay on the queen side. So yeah, it's a very interesting game. I'm very curious to look back in it in more depth and see what the opportunities were.
Yeah, it's funny. There was an opportunity really early on after this I think it was king h8 was played after queen g3. There was this really interesting line where after king h8, the computer's giving +1 after bishop e6, fe6, queen h3. Kind of a little bit counterintuitive, but in some of the lines you're looking at knight g6 with and you're also hitting e6, so it's not so easy to defend the d7 pawn. Queen d7.
But
then you
have a knight on d7, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you have the
Maybe
knight on
f3 is a problem or something.
Yeah, you have the
Yeah,
knight on
yeah,
e7, but strangely enough, g4 is a menacing move. Then g5 is not coming in some lines, but very, 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 very interesting stuff. I don't know, Divis, where did you think? I felt like guarding the g3 square was so important, and it was funny during the game after Queen h5. It felt like White was getting somewhere. f7 was under pressure, but then all of a sudden you played this f6 move, and it's always double-edged when you play f6. How did you rationalize that?
Yes, I was suffering a lot in this position because the attack of the white sounds great, but really Pepe understood very well the position. In the pawn in f5 is not so dangerous because the knight is very far from the king side, and then I think really now our position is good after this change in f5, and then really it was idea of Pepe, and he understood very very well the position, and okay, and I think we are okay. Of course, it's very hard to play in the game. We are suffering a lot, but it looks like the attack of the white is not so clear, and then we can play in the center and in the queen side.
It must be said, though, Nemo, it felt like there were at least 2 or 3 moments where you were like literally 1 or 2 extra moves from checkmate, whether there was the knight f8, knight g6, rook h8 checkmate, or whether it was the queen invading. There was this moment after b3 where you went for this queen b4, knight f8 maneuver, and it was difficult to see from afar that this rook b8 back would be the annoying move. But strangely enough, queen takes, and queen g3 was a way to get the same ideas off. I think in part because there's rook a1 in so many lines where you distract the queen and there's some queen g7 business. But did it feel during the game like you're almost hitting home, or like how did it feel?
It definitely felt like, we were playing to win, obviously. So it felt like queen b4, queen f8 was our best shot. I unfortunately missed rook b8 until basically near the very end. So I think if we'd seen rook b8, we would have considered queen g3, rook to a1 ideas, which we actually thought about. But yeah, the tactics just wasn't, quite there. And obviously, respect to our opponents, they were able to defend against everything amazingly. Yeah, hard to do anything when your opponents don't make a mistake.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. I see Pepe has actually left us for a moment, so I'm going to throw this to Divis. What was the experience like? What did you learn through this whole process? You obviously had this journey now where you played 3 matches. You played with a teammate. You learned about sort of cooperating, getting your ideas together. Obviously, you guys are very animated. What did you learn through this process?
I enjoy it a lot, really.
Yeah. No, it's it felt like along the way there was some moments where it was unclear. It was unclear whether things were going to work out or not, and just navigating that was kind of wild. So, I guess I'll toss it really quickly to Oh Yes My Queen and Eric. Would you guys run this back? You guys had not lost a game before today, and it felt like you were almost hitting home in both games. Would you do this again? Would you run this team back? Do you think you're going to come back stronger next year?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I really enjoyed this whole event. I think this is some of the most enjoyable chess I've played recently, because having a teammate there that kind of takes the pressure off, and the ability to kind of work through positions and think about ideas. And there are so many moments where Nemo's coming up with moves and I'm not considering. And I feel like I learned a lot just kind of going through this event, and also just the dynamic of having to communicate as we work through positions, not only suggesting moves, but also just listening to the partner, and then just working together to enhance both our plays, I think was a really interesting experience.
All right, and last question for you before I send you off. What was your favorite moment? So each team's favorite moment. So I'll give it to Nemo first. What was your favorite moment through this entire event?
I honestly think the very first match we played against Danny and John were like, it just felt like everything was working very well together. Like we'd done a couple of practice games, but we were like Eric was deciding the opening, and then we were finding tactics in the middle game, and then it was just like it all came together. So I think, it was really nice playing with Eric. Absolute honor. Thank you very much for being my teammate.
Likewise.
Wow. And Divis, what was your favorite moment for Team Ratata?
I suffered a lot. It was very, very hard match, and really my favorite moment was when I felt in the first game we started to have a good position in the game to play to win. Then it was to me the most important moment for the match, because if this endgame is draw, of course they can play a less aggressive this game, and then this was the most important moment for us in all the event, because in the other match we had a very good position with white always to try to win, but this match was very hard for us, and the first game it was clearly better for them, and then this was the moment, the key moment really for the match.
Well, it was wildly entertaining. I mean, honestly, just watching these games, they went right down to the wire. I had such a fun time enjoying it. And I just want to say congratulations really to both teams. Congratulations, Team Ratata. You really captivated us. And congratulations, Nemo and Eric, because the synergy was crazy. Like, it was incredible to watch, like, throughout. So hopefully we're going to do this again soon. I look forward to the Redemption Tour, and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Good games, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you, Eric.
It was very nice. Thanks, Ed.
Vamos
Estás
ahí.
viendo ya, ¿no? D4.
D4.
¿Has visto,
Ahí está.
¿Has visto que es D4, no? Vale.
But knight bd7. There's a good chance they prepared this, because this is what I play a lot in Blitz online.
Dale caña ahí, A5. Vámonos. Tírale, bicho. Dale para allá. Legal. ¿Dónde estáis? ¡Que no os veo! ¿Dónde están estos gritos de apoyo para vuestros matados preferidos, que somos nosotros?
Los perdedores, pero sin par.
Okay, I like rook d7 more, because now that the king's on c3, we do have c5, because after d5 we have b5, because now they can't swing the rook over.
¡Pasa!
Voy a lamentar.
¡Vamos! Una rata cruda, grande, Divis. Brutal.
E4?
Yep. Let's do it.
I'm expecting c5, but maybe they'll try and surprise us.
Oh.
And we're just chilling, We're just chilling.
It's all about giving them things to worry about and putting more time.
Vamos. Bueno, tienen que hacer dama e1. La están pensando, pero la tienen que hacer.
Sí. Petre, dale. Dale.
Are they gonna force a draw?
4, lo tenemos, Divi. Muy bien.
Vamos, don Pepe, bien, joder.
Bien. Buena compenetración.
Well, at least they, soften up the score a little.